Welcome to the OPES Show. The purpose of this show is to bring to you ordinary people, just like you and me, and their stories of struggle, hard work, perseverance, and determination that made them extraordinary. Our very first guest is working on building a preventive health solution for a disease free life. Her startup, Ripsey, which has recently raised rupees 1 crore as a part of a 2 crore funding round, aims to promote a sustainable and healthy lifestyle through eating healthy. So, without any further ado, let me introduce to you the CEO of Ripsey, Silky Singh. All right. So first of all, I would like to thank you for coming onto this show and all of that because, to be very honest, I was thinking about starting this for a very long time, and I truly believe that if you would not have said yes, then I would have kept postponing it and maybe finding somebody else or whatever that is. So thanks a lot for that. And I want to actually kickstart this conversation from how you were as a kid, because I truly believe like the kind of experiences and exposure you get as a kid is what really shapes you into the person you are as an adult. So how was your childhood like?
Right. First of all, thank you for having me. It is a pleasure actually because you're from the same institute as I am,
Yes, yes.
and there couldn't be a better platform. This is my first podcast, like podcast is my first podcast, so
You'll
it's
have
it's
a
a
lot more. You'll have a lot more now.
pleasure.
It's becoming a thing now.
Oh, so
Yeah.
coming to the childhood thing that you asked about. See, every child is an entrepreneur, okay? Only thing
Okay.
that the education system is doing is to suppress it.
Okay. Interesting.
Because as kids, you're very intuitive. You're very, you are always thinking out of the box because you don't have a box. You're still learning to get into that box, right?
Hmm.
So as a kid, because grown up in, I grew up in Jamshedpur, okay?
Hmm.
It's a town. So
Yeah.
I had a lot of things that I could do, thanks to even Tata's, wherein they built a lot of infrastructure. So I played
Hmm.
different kinds of sports. I grew up with my brother, so I played with his friends, and I played with
Hmm.
my friends, and so a lot of experimentation was also done because we both used to sit and experiment a lot many things with magnet and things like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is something which is missing in current education system when kids come back from school and start learning the same thing online, right? You
Yeah.
don't get time to do random things.
Like
Random things
engage
are
your
the one.
curiosity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe you're doing something very random which does not make sense to, as an adult it does not make sense, but I'm sure it helps us build our personality. So
Hmm.
as a kid I was extremely curious. I've done a lot of damage because of that. I I think all of us are entrepreneur. Similarly I was, and I used to like taking risk. A part
Okay.
of entrepreneurship is liking the risk part of it. If you
True.
don't like the uncertainty and risk, you shouldn't be coming onto this platform at all.
Absolutely. That makes sense. So what were your first initial risks like? Like as a child,
First
what
risk
have
is
you
all.
yeah, like what kind of risks did you take in the entrepreneurial side? Like did you start businesses or were you like selling stuff from
So,
yeah.
yeah, so I'll tell you the first risk that I took was my
Hmm.
resignation. I resigned from a very well paying job. That
Okay.
was something, it is a risk, right? When you are
Yeah,
actually
absolutely,
visioned in a
absolutely.
space, and that's the first step that a lot of people, because I have many, I've spoken to many people who wanted to become entrepreneurs, and then they have like 10 brilliant ideas which they speak to me
Hmm.
about, but they've never executed it because that uncomfortable day where you have to resign and to start where the no salary is going to come to you, and there's the
Exactly.
uncertainty attached to it, right? You
Absolutely,
don't
yeah.
know whether what you're talking about you'll be able to execute or not, or will it work out or not, right? So that was the
Hmm.
first level of risk which one should definitely think about if you're ready. Then only, because once you've taken that risk and other risk you're not able to take,
Yeah.
you're juggling between a lot of wrong things. Uh, Second risk that I took was maybe I put a lot of my savings into starting my business, right? So
Hmm.
that gives you again, that takes away your oxygen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you need to survive without any kinds of savings and things like that, and you need to start believing that what I am
Building has.
building will give me returns.
Right.
If you don't have that faith, then you will not be able to take that risk. uh, the third risk that I took was to get my co-founder. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
because you should get a good partner, because at times you are under weather and you need somebody to pull you up. Similarly,
Hmm.
another person. It's always good to have a co-founder, not
True, true.
necessary condition. But
But it always helps. Always helps.
yes, to get somebody as a co-founder to sign an agreement with the person wherein you're in a way married to that person. Okay. And if
Hmm.
you divorce, the company is going to fall. It's like a family will fall, right? So I took a chance with the person, and you know her,
Yeah,
Alekha, and
absolutely.
it came out to be wonderful. Wherein um, she she became a very backbone of the business. She is the best person that I could have found. But it's a chance, right? I mean, the
It is,
first
it is, it is.
couple of months, the person, you don't know how it's going to turn out, and when you're actually going through the worst of situations, how this person is going to react.
Hmm.
So I took that risk of believing in her, and then that was one of my best decisions. Um, these are some of the risks that I've
Hmm, hmm,
taken.
hmm. Talking
Um,
about your first risk, you said you left a job. How long were you working for? Like post
I
college?
was working for almost 9 years.
Wow, that's a long time before you actually decide to
Yes,
like leave
yes,
everything. And so,
yes.
how long were you like? How tell me, talk me through the process of actually going from a very stable job to that uncertain thing. Because
Right. I'll tell you, I wanted this uncertainty from third year of my college, wherein I actually went to my dad, told him about a business idea that I wanted to execute. I'm
which was
talking about
that?
2000. Uh,
Which business idea was that in college? Was it Ripsey?
I'll tell you about it. So
Okay.
it was in 2006. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
Startups were still not a word in India.
Hmm.
And I went to my dad. I wanted to make a coffee outlet which is modular and which is run by solar panels with washrooms attached to it, which are bio washrooms, and to place it throughout highways. Now,
Okay.
the reason I
Uh-huh.
wanted to do this is, one, I'm a coffee lover, and when I go on a highway trip or I'm traveling from one place to another,
Hmm.
you have to find a coffee place or a hotel, and
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
kind of difficult. Second is that washrooms are not available and not clean also, right? So I wanted to set up that. I had worked on the design. I had not so much of it.
But
It
a
was
plan.
a plan, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I wanted to get a nod. Hey, somebody will give me money and I will work on it. My dad said, not happening. Get a job. So Indian parents, particularly middle class, they
Yeah.
love jobs. Okay, and
Absolutely. Yeah. Your parents
so
have always
they
been into job. Like, were you the first
my,
person
my
in your
my
family
parents come
who?
from a service class. All of them come
Okay.
from a service class, and most of them are in government. Okay, so
Hmm.
it's
Hmm. Hmm.
another level of security that you have.
Security. Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're not coming from a business family, you will not be well received.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm. True.
So similarly, so I was told a no, like a VC no, a complete no. If the idea is useless, go and work. So I
Yeah.
went, and I still, it was a 2008. I am a 2008 pass out. So
Hmm.
2008, you had this subprime crisis. A lot of things happened and
Yes.
things like that.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So
Yeah. And you got a
in fact,
job during that time.
I actually lost the job, but thanks to Manipal Institute, I had multiple jobs.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a great college to study in. So it
Yeah.
teaches you a lot of things. Plus the placements are very good. So I was left with a job, and I was side by side trying to work in a startup. I did reach out to a couple of startups wherein I was ready to work for free. So
Hmm.
I wanted exposure, and I never got my mind off a startup. In
Okay.
fact, I saw Myntra got built in at BTM. The first place was in BTM.
Okay.
It was very different company. Myntra, they started with merchandise,
Hmm.
and I was working in Accenture, and Myntra used to provide customized merchandise. So I've seen Myntra
Hmm.
pivoting to online fashion platform,
I
right?
see.
So many of them, Flipkart used to only do books that time, and then I've seen Flipkart go there. So that was I was following everybody's journey very closely,
So you were
and
well up to date with everything that is going on.
yeah. Because
And
for
how was
me,
the
they are
job?
living my dream.
I see, I see. Yeah, and how was the job though? Like, were you liking it, or was it like, suffocating for you at that time?
So it wasn't suffocating. So what I did, I kept on changing my job profile to get a exposure throughout business. Like for example, in
Mm-hmm.
Accenture, I was into coding. So
Okay.
I changed my job profile after a couple of years into project management to
Mm-hmm.
understand how does a company like Accenture work when you have to manage projects. So I got an exposure about HR, about payrolls, many other aspects of things, how things are managed.
Mm-hmm.
So it gave me a very good outlook, and it was very difficult to get into that because engineers are not placed there. They don't hire engineers to go into project management. They hire
Okay.
engineers to code. So
Okay.
I
Yeah,
pushed, and I got there. And then I was working with Schneider Electric, which
yeah.
is
Mm-hmm.
again a brilliant company to work for. It's a French company.
Mm-hmm.
They have a very good working culture, wherein I learned a lot about one, how to treat your employees so that they talk about the company the way I'm talking to you about Schneider.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. I get
It's
it.
very important,
An
right?
open door policy type. Yeah.
Yeah, so people should like coming to that office, right? Schneider was a great place for that. French understand work-life balance very well, and they actually implemented it. The policies were very good. Schneider
Mm-hmm.
also gives you a platform wherein you can innovate, and that was
Hmm.
something that I always wanted to do. I actually was working on a product which was built for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and we could work on innovation. There was an innovation team attached to it. I loved my time there. I
Okay.
filed a patent on the hardware that we were building,
Okay.
and then I moved to a profile which was a all India marketing role. So the product that we were coding, we moved to marketing it. So the reason I'm telling you all these things because I very consciously wanted to keep switching my job profiles to understand how things work.
Hmm.
Because while I'm not starting something, maybe I can learn the processes, right?
So you're making the most out of the opportunity you had at hand.
Right,
Yeah.
because if you are thinking of starting something, there's only this much of passion that will drive you to go to office. Get up,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
I
You
see.
need
That's
to
it.
get something out of it. You need
Uh,
to curate something to come to you, right? So,
Absolutely.
and after that, I landed a job which was one of the best that I think in terms of exposure, which was with the Oman government. So I was
Hmm.
leading their India operations.
Okay.
It was to attract FDI from India into Oman, and I spoke to many business houses. I understood if one business is supposed to expand in from one place to another,
Mm-hmm.
how they should go about it. Okay,
Okay.
so it gave me perspective about different domains, from steel to gold to clothing, everything. That was my last job. I set up the team. I executed. There was a big pipeline that I gave to them in terms of how it has to be executed further on. I didn't want to leave the job. The job was very cushiony.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But then it was the right time. So I resigned from the job, and that is where I I wanted to solve a problem which was in my mind for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It was based on a logistics domain.
Okay.
So I while I was working with Salala Free Zone, which was the Oman government organization, I was
Okay.
exposed to warehousing domain, and I understood that it's a very unstructured market, and 98% of it is offline through brokers, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a very big commission structure attached there, and with this commission structure, there is one is the time lapse, and second is there is a corruption. There's a part of corruption that comes in. So I was building a platform which was going to match a domain, a company to the warehouse of their choice, and it will eliminate the third party. So I could build the first version. While I was doing that, I was always involved in offline activities, and I did make money offline. Online was still very nascent. I was trying to find a partner, and I couldn't
And when was
find a
this?
partner.
This was immediately after you quit, you're saying?
Yes.
This was the first
This was
idea that you
immediately
built
after.
in. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I understood that I'm not going to find a partner. It was a period of time, and it was relatively ahead of time because market is extremely unstructured. People were quite reluctant to come online and give off that percentage because many people are involved in taking. So I parked that venture. I pulled down it was called Warehouses and More.
Okay.
While I was doing this, I was struggling with health aspect, and I was looking for a solution that I built now, which is a comprehensive solution when it comes to food. I should know what I should be eating, and I should be getting it, and I should be tracking it, and I should prevent any kind of disease from happening to me through food. Because my idea is that I was diagnosed with PCOD, and PCOD has a lot to do with nutrition. And I could treat it with nutrition. So if you go out there, current companies, they are all talking about weight, which is a very skewed way of looking at people. Weight is a symptom. What is your underlying problem? People aren't solving. When people come to us, they say, I want to go on keto because keto gives them that rapid weight loss. But keto also probably does something to your body that you don't know because you're just looking at a very superficial layer of it. Right?
Yes. Okay.
So the idea is to build a nutrition and a wellness platform, which is much more personalized, which takes in data from you so that we can curate something which will be for long term.
And this is not just plans, this is also food. So you also cook that food.
Yeah. Yes. And our tech platform will also be available throughout India, wherein we don't serve food, but you can still see what is curated for you. Because you should know what you should be eating. This actually should be taught in elementary schools. Right? One of the chapters should be nutrition, because we shouldn't be going to nutritionists to ask what I should be eating. This is such a fundamental thing. We should be learning about it in an elementary school, right? I hope they include such things in education system. So the tech that we've built also has this Ripsey Labs, which talks about your kind of a nutrition. It gives you information. It empowers you. So this is the whole journey. I actually told you from my college till.
Absolutely. That's extremely interesting. I have a few questions, and they're all skewed because of everything you've told me. Let's start from college. Like back to the start now. Like you and Manipal, how did Manipal actually help you fuel that fire, that entrepreneurial fire inside you? Did like actually provide you with a platform that you could actually build your skills upon?
Right. So let's understand the fundamental aspect of what colleges give you. Okay.
Yeah.
Why we say which school did you go to? It's about the crowd that you're interacting with. It's actually about the crowd, because curriculum, I can take a curriculum of Harvard and study it, right? It will still not probably make me equivalent to an Harvard grad, because the kind of people that you're interacting with. So Manipal has a great mix of crowd coming from different parts of India and world. The whole infrastructure is built in a way that I think we had a lot to do there apart from studies, which brings out the personality in you.
True.
Right? It is a student's place. You have a whole Manipal University, which has doctors, which have people from media, right? There are many other colleges which are.
Yeah, so
So yeah,
just surrounded by students. Yeah.
you're surrounded by students. You're surrounded by young minds. It's a place wherein you can be bubbling with a lot of ideas because you are talking to many young minds, people from different. You're interacting with people from hotel management. You're interacting with people from media. So you're not only probably thinking about engineering, you are also getting to know about medicine, right? So that's one aspect of things. Manipal has great set of teachers.
Yeah.
Teachers were good. I think it wasn't only about curriculum. The whole curriculum, the way it is made, a lot of extracurriculars were always part of it, and I was very actively part of many clubs, and it just brought out a personality which is very helpful when you take up entrepreneurship,
I
or
get it.
it drives that, or probably it fuels subconsciously those aspects, right? Because when you are comparing an event, you are bringing out a set of personality. When
Absolutely.
you are representing your college, so we were all pushed to do many different kinds of activities. It was not curriculum driven only, right?
And because I know that there'll be a lot of people, like a lot of college students, who want to after college they want to start their own startup, right? And they might not be from Manipal or from a college that actually provides them with the kind of opportunities that these colleges do provide. So what is like an advice that you have for them that they can implement on, so that they can utilize their time to the maximum capacity and become better
Right.
to start that startup that they have in their mind?
So one thing, of course, as I said, interaction, right? So interacting with a peer group, whether they are from your college or somewhere else, or they are already entrepreneurs, or they are, people who are kind of similar in a way or different, both, right?
Okay.
Similar means similar in terms of, okay, I'm looking to do something like this in future. You're also looking to do something like this in future. Let's talk, right? This is one being similar. Different in a way that I'm from this domain wherein I understand engineering, but oh, you're from medicine. What do you guys do? Right? Brings down a different dimension in you.
Yeah.
So understanding a lot of things from many different perspectives. So people should be interacting a lot while you're in college. Now social media has made things so much easier for you to reach
Absolutely.
out. Internship, please go and do internships in many startups. Okay, I've seen interns wanting too much out of an internship. They want stipend also in first year of the college. Many startups will be in very early stage. They can't afford an paid intern. It is okay to do a unpaid internship maybe till third year. Fourth year, there is a paid internship. That's all right, because you're going to start going into paid job after that.
Yeah.
But first 3 years, do unpaid internship, do internships in different domains, and reach out to people, work for free, do take assignments. You'll get so much of exposure from that, right? And that's a great way to learn, I think.
So internships and interacting with people, and
That's what
interaction
I
can be online or offline. Yeah.
Yes. You
And
should.
what kind of skills should you actually look forward to building? Like, what are the
There's no
dominant
single,
skills?
there's no single skill set. You'll see people, doctors building businesses. You'll
Okay.
see techies building businesses, and they'll not be building businesses in their domain, right? So it's about problem solving. It's about inquisitiveness. How are you, when you are looking around, how are you looking at things? Are you picking up a problem? Are you curious enough, passionate enough to solve a problem? Is that your personal, like for example, as I mentioned about the solar panel based coffee machine and the wine?
Yeah.
It was my personal problem that I wanted to solve. Nobody is solving that, right? I mean, why not take that up? So I think you should be looking at taking the best out of what you have as a personality. Okay, you can't build very different personality of your own and different kind of a skill set and become a very forced entrepreneur. You can't. You should bring out, if you're an introvert, you should take up something which will bring, utilize those parts of your personality. You need not be in front end and talking every time, like those kinds of businesses, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
coming to, since you said skill set, I don't think so there's a singular skill set. You should understand technology broadly. You should understand building businesses broadly. That's one skill set. You can't learn finance if you are not passionate about it or you have not learned it, right? You can't learn coding if you're not passionate or not gone, right? And people who've
Yeah, yeah,
done
yeah.
coding for 4 years, you can't build that skill.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe couple of things which for me is a skill set is one, clarity of thought. Okay. Clarity in communication and patience. Build these things. This will help you immensely. Patience is a very underrated thing. Patience in a startup helps you immensely. You should be patient enough to build something that you will want to, grow. Because somebody built it, got funded in 1 year, that's somebody else's story. Maybe you'll not get funded for next 4 years, right? If you don't have patience in a year and a half, maybe that product would scale much more than the previous guy who got funded in a year. So those things, like clarity and thought, will give you a very good product. Clarity in communication will actually help you communicate your ideas to the investor, communicate your product to the consumer, communicate exactly what you're thinking and what's the vision of the company to your employees.
Interesting.
And patience will keep you there. So I think these are the skill sets.
Soft skills, majorly.
Soft skills.
Yeah.
Because for the rest of them, you can hire people, right? It's not necessarily,
True.
but none of the businesses you require. If you have these 3 skills that I spoke about, those guys will do wonders for you, the one that you'll hire.
Nice. So, like people who are currently in college who have a dream, just like how you had one when you were in college, right? Do you think it's important for them to go through the corporate route first and actually see what a business runs like, or work for a startup, or should they actually just take the leap right out of college and start the startup? Like, do you think that experience is really that valuable, or should you go ahead and just start working on that idea?
Right. So the answer is yes and no. So one is that a lot of people take entrepreneurship because they think it's cool nowadays. A lot of guys I've seen talking about ideas. The good part about this generation, when I'm saying generation, because I'm like passed out since 10 years. So this generation, where you have incubation centers available. In colleges, they have, I think, a lot of exposure when it comes to startups and all this, right?
Absolutely.
So you should be executing it there. Your prototype should start probably from first to second year when you about something like this. That's one aspect of things. You will get grants. That most of the colleges will give you grant, right? And if your product is good enough, go ahead and start it. You shouldn't be waiting for going to a corporate and learning the process, etc. Whereas if you don't have any concrete thing in place, it's a good idea to learn something in corporate, because what I learned actually is benefiting me immensely. The processes, why those processes made so much of sense, right? I used to hate a lot of process, but now I'll probably be implementing few of them, because this is how they built it, like over a set of years, right? Then it'll give you exposure also. It'll give you money to sustain yourself, right? A lot of us will not come from a background wherein we'll have surplus money to probably sustain for 4-5 years, right? So you can probably, if you don't get funded, how are you planning this? Is through your own savings, right? So yes and no. If you already have a product in place, possibly you'll get funded much more faster. If you don't, then wait for a while, work in a corporate, get your ideas in place, then leave your job and take a plunge.
Yeah, that's more interesting. Yeah, that's very well put. Yeah, yes and no. So like that's talking about students. There are a lot of people who are currently in a corporate job, okay, who just like you had an idea to build that particular startup, leave that job and all. So what are the first few things that you kept in your mind? Ki, yes, these are a few things that I need to put in place. These are a certain set of stuff that I need to have already going on before I can take that leap. What are the few things? Because obviously you're going from some place which is extremely secure to something
Hmm.
that's extremely uncertain, and you have a lot of
Right.
doubts, family pressures. How do you combat all that? How do you decide whether this decision that you're making is the right decision?
Right. There is no right decision. You take a decision and you work on it.
And then
You
you
try to make it
find out
right.
whether it's
There
a
is,
right. Okay.
yeah. You really cannot ever say that's a right decision or wrong decision.
Hmm.
You have to have a faith on yourself, wherein faith. Actually, entrepreneurs believe a lot in themselves. Okay, some people laugh at it, but that's a good thing to have faith on yourself, because a lot of people will not have faith in you.
Optimism.
And
Be completely optimistic.
yeah,
Yeah.
keep questioning yourself, but
Hmm.
with that full question wherein you can handle all level of circumstances. Have faith in yourself कि हाँ handle हो जाएगा.
हो जाएगा. Yeah.
This is the
हो
level.
जाएगा. Absolutely.
हाँ हो जाएगा. ठीक है. What were things that were in place while I left my job? Was the idea was in place. Okay.
Hmm.
While you are working, you cannot execute an idea. I've seen people doing a prototype and all those things, but that's something which is not possible. It's kind of half-hearted attempt here and there. I didn't do that because my job
Hmm.
was as it is very demanding.
Hmm.
So I had an understanding that the idea is good. I had spoken to many industry experts, and I thought it is worth taking a plunge and running it full time. Okay. So I
Hmm.
just had idea in place and savings for me to have my roti kapda makan kind of thing.
Okay. So
So
savings for like roti kapda makan as well as bootstrapping your business
yes,
is
yes,
all right.
because you're not certain whether you'll get funded or not. And
You're in the
another
idea phase.
aspect, yeah,
Exactly.
and another aspect of things is like maybe you'll build a profitable business and you'll never require funding.
Hmm.
So you should have some capital in place wherein
Hmm.
if it starts going pretty well, you don't require funding. People come to you for to give you money because you're building a
Hmm.
profitable business. So you should
Absolutely.
have that kind of hold on your business initially,
Hmm.
not only depend on somebody else's capital.
Hmm.
Another point is if you don't invest in your business, nobody else will, because investors always look at how much is a founder invested in the business, okay, with money as well as time. So there are founders who are still working in a job and are setting up a company. They generally don't get funded
Hmm.
because you
You want
yourself
somebody
don't have
who's
that
all in.
faith, right?
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
have faith, that's why you've not left your job, right? You don't
True.
believe that it's going to work out. You're trying to have a backup.
Yeah.
And if you've not invested in your money, that means you've not taken that risk yourself.
Hmm.
You can walk
And
off anytime.
and what about doubt, about those fears, about what ifs? Because that's surely going to pop in your head when you're really about to make that decision. How you overcome that? I believe that is the biggest hurdle, because when I had that one, when I was, planning on leaving the job, and there was an
Yeah,
extreme amount of uncertainty because I did not have any other offer in my hand,
yeah,
especially with the pandemic. So how do you jump
yeah.
over that what if and build
So
that
you
startup?
you talk to yourself. That's very important. So
Mm-hmm.
being an entrepreneur is a lonely journey. People think it's a negative word. It's not. Being
Mm-hmm.
alone is free, right? You have a lot of freedom.
Hmm.
Uh, so you talk to yourself, and in the end, you have to tell yourself, "I'll handle it." Okay.
Yeah.
There is no answer. Nobody will come and answer that for you. Okay.
Hmm.
And on day, from one day to another, you'll become much stronger person, and you will always have this. You will go to bed and you'll be like, what if tomorrow this deal does not happen, the investor does not get money, and it does not
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
As a startup, it does not happen.
Hmm.
And then you get up next day and like, okay, handle ho jayega. This is a faith that you're building on yourself. Okay.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, that what ifs don't end.
yeah, what ifs will never end. Okay.
Yeah.
You are on an uncomfortable journey. The reason entrepreneurs are, looked at a certain way, because you on a daily basis, you are doing something difficult.
Hmm.
You have to do that difficult thing on a daily basis, right? You have to be comfortable doing that difficult thing. You have to be comfortable
Right.
being in an uncertain situation. Okay. So when you actually let these questions and doubts, they'll keep lingering. Okay. You'll have
Hmm.
self-doubt. People will talk to you, give self-doubt, the things that you've never thought about yourself. Like you were very certain that
Hmm.
you are in a certain way, right? We all have
Yeah.
opinion of ourselves. That will go away. Consumers will come and give you self-doubt on the product. Okay. That will come. Many things will happen. Okay. Personal life might also give you doubt, right? Like for example, a middle class family will not support you at times, saying that
Hmm.
this is a very uncertain path that you're taking, etc. You're going to burn your money, right? You're going to burn the prime of your life in this.
Hmm.
Again, it's all about how stable you are in your mind and how much you're talking to yourself. You're free in your mind. You're talking to yourself in your mind. You're an entrepreneur. You have to be comfortable with all these situations and have a very peaceful sleep and get up and say, handle karenge. Handle ho jayega. Okay.
And
So,
what's that conversation in your mind like? Because
so
you have a lot of stuff on, as you said, on a daily basis. Everything that you just said, I bet you have come across all of it
right.
at some point.
So initially, I'll tell you my transition, how it used to go.
Yeah.
So initially, it used to be more like I used to be much more jittery. Okay. Reactions used to probably come out relatively more. The good thing that I did before starting the company, I did Vipassana. Okay.
Okay.
It just kind of helped me take a lot of reactions out of my system.
And where do
So
you do
I was
this?
all,
Like, did you
I
take
went to
like a full?
Bangalore center.
Okay, the
So
Bangalore center.
Vipassana has Vipassana, these guys have centers all over world,
This is a
and
meditation course, right?
yeah, this is
Yeah.
an 11 days meditation
Okay.
wherein you don't speak
You don't
and you
speak.
meditate almost for 10 to 12 hours. Yeah.
And okay, so for those 10 to 12 hours, you cannot speak.
No, you don't speak for 11 days altogether.
Okay, interesting. So you're alone with your
It's a,
thoughts.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're alone with your
basically,
thoughts
the
and you have
point
to
of
make
it.
peace with your thoughts, because when you're meditating,
Mm-hmm.
what happens? Your mind throws out first good things, more of bad things, and you're dealing with it because you're not talking to anybody and you have no access to phone, you have no access
Mm-hmm.
to any reading material. Only thing that you're doing is just sitting and meditating and not talking to anybody, not making eye contact with anybody, not having a physical contact with anybody. You're just like alone in this world. It was one of the best experiences that I went through.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have said that while I was going through Vipassana, but
Obviously, yeah.
because it's kind of
It
peeling
sounds horrible.
layers of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It was peeling layers of me. It was kind of bringing me to myself, talking me to myself, and saying, "Yeah, okay, you're the only one who's going to handle this thing because it's in your head, and you can't go back to your mom, you can't go back to your friend and talk."
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it was more of dealing with everything
Yeah.
and making peace with it. So while I did that, it just took a lot of reactions out of my system. I became a relatively more evolved person. So what happened, like for example, something went wrong. I used to talk to myself. I used to take a lot of time off, later in the night and just sit and, think, go for a walk and just think, making peace with it, right? And then talking to myself ki, yeah, handle ho jayega is my word actually.
Yeah.
Handle, next
Ho
day
jayega.
ab handle kar lenge. Because when you've taken a plunge onto it, right? You have to handle it. You can't keep blaming कि तुम्हारे कारण this happened. If I wouldn't have done that, this wouldn't have happened. All these things, it's endless, and it's a useless discussion, right?
So Vipassana was that thing that actually helped you to
It helped me.
transform,
It
right?
did. Meditation helps everybody, and I think you will hear this. Jack Dorsey does a lot of meditation, Twitter's
Mm-hmm.
founder.
Yeah.
He leads a very different kind of a life.
Mm-hmm.
You should read about him.
I
So
will.
I think when you have a lot to deal with, first of all, making peace in your mind is very important, because that is where everything is going to go. And if you are not in control with it, then you're going to, you're going to come up with a lot of irrelevant reactions.
True. Listen. And this was completely unplanned. You just happened to do Vipassana before you got into taking that plunge into startup. How was that
Yeah.
initial day? Because obviously, like, you still had to work upon yourself in spite of doing that Vipassana. Do you still meditate on a daily basis? What do you do to
Not daily
build that up?
basis. It's very sporadic for me. Not daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
But so after that, what I went about doing is, one, I consciously don't give reactions. I just train myself like that, because
Okay.
I've seen reactions don't actually reactions actually spoil a lot of situations. So I've seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Other thing that I work upon is I think that's all about. I keep peace with myself. I mean, even if the whole world is falling around, I just keep peace. I hold myself. I go and I sleep for 6 hours very
Yeah.
peacefully. That's something very important. That's what I do, and I never felt there's a difference between work and fun, or work or play,
Okay.
because I never felt I'm working. So a lot of my friends used to tell me to take a break from work, and I could never relate to that sentence, because for me, I don't know where the work is starting.
Yeah.
Work starts when I don't like what I'm doing. So that used to be, sometimes possibly we will do that in a startup, but mostly you will like what you're doing. So you're happy.
And what
It
is it that you're doing? Is it building what in your head? What is it that you're chasing? What is it that you're doing?
I'm building a novel solution which is not
Okay.
existing in the market. I want
Hmm.
it to impact life of people. I've been talking to people about what is the issue, what are they facing in
Hmm.
terms of nutrition and wellness. I've been using certain set of solutions myself,
Hmm.
and how I am looking at it is, somebody sitting in Bihar will be able to use this app to actually plan their nutrition and
Hmm.
understand why they are eating bajra in winter and why they should be eating wheat in summer.
And that's what drives you.
Empowering them with the information, right?
Yeah.
Impacting life, impacting
Basically.
life, solving an issue, empowering people. It's a different high altogether. I mean, money can give you a certain level of high. Money can give you a certain drive.
Hmm.
In a startup, you'll get money if you're driven, if you're passionate, you'll get money. After a while, you'll lose the mojo, right? If you're not passionate about the problem
Rebuilding.
solving, the innovation aspect of it. So it should only be driven by how many people are actually getting affected by it, right? So
So
this is
impact
what drives
matters a
me.
lot to you. The kind of
Yes,
impact you bring onto the
definitely.
table.
Right. So on a daily basis, if consumers are liking what we are doing, it's the best thing. Nothing can bring more happiness than that.
Well, that's actually amazing what you just said. I think that's a very good note on which we should end this conversation. It was great having this conversation with you. I don't even know how long it went. It's just I was completely lost and into this
Mostly an
zone.
hour. Mostly an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was amazing. Thanks a lot for sharing your story. Thanks a lot for this entire, coming onto the show. Thank you. And
Thank you
yeah,
for having me, and all the best for your podcast.
thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.